want to give some more common sense advice on gold. How it can actually go up to, like, say, $50,000 an ounce, and silver go to $2,000 an ounce at least. And here's my financial partner here, Putin the Cat. He's very smart, very intelligent. Gives me lots of, you know, when I listen to the hum noise, I get inspiration, so I hear what's going on. I know what's going to happen. But this is actually practically how silver can go to like a couple $1,000s an ounce, and gold can go to 50,000. Actually, I made a realistic calculation a while ago. If you took all the gold in the world produced in a year, and you said how much oil is coming out of the ground, and you just use gold to trade oil, it is like $50,000 an ounce. It's crazy. You know, it's that crazy. But I'm going to tell you something else. This is an angle a lot of people don't think of. Just actually, a loaf of bread could be $50 if you calculate it this way. And this is how I'll calculate it. Use the salaries that the financial experts on Wall Street get and shove in their pockets, and have them actually perform the labor. Those guys don't do shit. Actually, most people work in all these financial, and they're all over the place. I mean, they're in you know, local towns. They have representatives. They have them in the major cities. They're, you know, headquartered a lot of times in New York City or whatever, maybe incorporated in Delaware or whatever they are. But, you know, if you actually had their salaries factored into, you know, the man hours that's produced in the various steps of production of gold and silver and even a loaf of bread, oh, gold would be at least $50,000 an ounce. Can you imagine somebody over there just, you know, operating, you know, the explosives or something for, like, you know, $500 an hour or something like that, or driving a truck for, you know, $250 an hour? That's what these financial bloodsuckers get. And how do they get it? They rip you off. They don't do anything. So actually, I'm going to tell you right now, when the Illuminati says there's useless eaters out there, yeah, there are useless eaters, and actually a lot of them are in the financial world. But Jim Rogers does state that in the long term, there's going to be, you know, agriculture is probably going to be the hot area. Actually, I think so. Because everybody in the world is, you know, they got to be a yuppie and all this kind of stuff. They don't want to turn to agriculture. But I'm going to say this, too. If you really believe in paper, because dollars are paper, they're playing a card game with you, man. They're basically, I'm going to say the type of paper you get is this. Actually, in reality, this kind of paper, toilet paper, is probably a good thing to hoard, too. So if you're much into, I'm serious about that. Actually, you know, S-H-I-T hits the fan. Actually, you would use this. But, you know, the thing is, you know, that's actually something that's going to be important to actually hoard in a real emergency. But, you know, stock up on supplies. Don't keep a lot of fiat toilet paper around, and cut your expenses as much as possible. You'd be surprised what you can do. But I have a lot more respect for the guys that do this type of stuff, and, you know, hammer nails, do mechanical work, the good old 32 ball peen hammer. Those flakes in the offices, which I've been around a lot of that, but, you know, it's like when you're in here, I got to go into complete office mode. I got to talk a certain way. I got to act a certain way. I can't reference anything like this, you know. So that's why I'm going to stick with YouTube, because I can do anything I want, but for a hell of a lot less money. But anyway, the thing is, you know, those guys, if you factored in, you know, the Wall Street salary, and it could be anybody, you know, working around here. I'm not going to name names, but you know, the famous sharks or people that are trying to pull you into their financial instruments. If they were working in a farm or tilling the soil for those kind of salaries, they wouldn't even do that. They wouldn't even do that. They don't even pick up 20 pounds. They're bums. And there's plenty of women in there that would never do any kind of physical labor. They would actually, the products would go exponentially higher. But I'm going to tell you something, that this is actually something to be cautious of, because I see this as a trend, and actually you're going to be pretty disheartened about hearing this. What I think the elite top people are, in cooperation with the you know, the financial you know, sellout Marxist bums will do, is they're going to use prison industries for, like, all the dirty labor, and basically just like what happens in China. The Lao guy is coming to the United States. Like in China, and this is not to knock the Chinese people, but in China, if you get even a minor infraction, they can put you in workers' prison, the Lao guy, for 3 years, and they torture the crap out of you if you don't work your ass off. So I mean, over nothing, practically nothing. And actually, that's where a lot of the things are being produced today, even for our military-industrial complex. It's coming from the prison industries. So there's absolutely no reason they can't use prison labor to mine gold, silver, platinum, palladium, drill for oil, and produce goods and stuff like that, like from the earth, which would be like agriculture. So, you know, the actual New World Order is a hybrid between capitalism and communism. So that's what I see what's coming up. But they are, you know, these people in the financial world are total charlatans and crooks, and I'm just kind of preaching to the choir with that. But stick with the basics. Always stick with the basics, because they're actually going to get tripped up if the middle class stays firm and hardcore. Actually, I just got in the mail 5 minutes ago a thing, sell your gold locally. You know, and a couple guys in suits, you know, whatever, you know, probably with their Jesus cross or whatever. Sell your gold for freaking fiat, you know, whatever the hell it is. Don't sell it. Don't sell it. Actually, you know, I'm going to actually get on with some stuff with taxes later, because I'm hoping that in the long term, when we go to sell metals, hopefully there might be a way to do it in another way that is a loophole. I know, like in the real estate world years ago, when everything was pumping up in real estate, they used to have the 1031 like-kind exchange. In other words, if you had a capital gain on land, you can exchange it for other land, plus maybe you would tax the boot. They call the boot the cash part. But basically, you could just flip it from one capital asset to another without recognizing the gain. 100% legal. Now, I'm wondering if there's something we can do, like if there's an exchange of metals that goes on in the same type of reflection. Because, say for instance, you actually never took cash. You never took cash. You sold gold for another commodity or something like that in bulk, and there was no cash exchange. No tax, right? And I think that should be legal, right? I mean, I don't know if that, I mean, I don't think it would call it a like-kind exchange, but it would be akin to that if you're swapping one asset for another. So I think, because in the long run, when this gold stuff go up, that's going to be your big danger. Because the jackasses in the suits and the calculators and the Marxist communist bureaucrats that work basically for the IRS or indirectly for the IRS, that will never lift a hammer or a wrench because they're a bunch of pussy boys, they will find a way to extract their cut, and I want to make sure they don't get their cut. Because I'm in the financial world, but I'm not in the financial world. That's the way I play it. I really don't like the financial world, because those guys are bums. They're bums, and they're surrounded by, you know, dorky females with fat waists and glasses this thick that can't think. But just remember, gold can actually go to $1 million an ounce, even if you factored in the salaries of these people that are like attorneys, CPAs, doctors, and they actually did the labor. If you factored in those man hours into the production of goods and services like gold and silver, the price would have to be like $1 million an ounce. So they're the people that are trying to screw you over and buy it cheap, and they're going to sell it back to you expensive. So hang on, that's all I got to say. And if you really believe in fiat paper and you believe in paper products, buy this stuff. This stuff actually you can use, you know, Charmin or whatever the hell this is. That's better stuff. So if you really believe in paper, buy toilet paper. Actually, that stuff is one of the good things to buy as an emergency supply. But just hang on, and don't let the bastards freaking fool you, because the only way they can actually keep the price of gold down and silver down is to actually drop the labor cost and the energy cost. And the only way they can do that, because basically every product out there has man-hour labor in it. You know, no matter how you figure it. You know, whether it's oil, whether it's building something, maintaining something. If they use prison labor, they can keep the price low. And that is exactly how I see the United States going. They're going to have a Laogai type system as in China. So the solution to that is also keep your guns. But silver and gold can go to astronomical heights if, just figure this, you actually had to pay the salaries of like the Wall Street sharks to the people that mined the gold and smelted it and made the coins and transported on trucks and all that type of stuff. If you had to pay their salaries into those type of products, if you had to pay the salaries of Wall Street sharks into what went into making a loaf of bread would be between $50 and $100, no problem. Easy. So, I say is stay outside the system. Don't support those bastards. Bleed them and stick with your guns too.